Well, they closed down the mill and they closed down the mine. They said you can't work but pay your taxes on time. Got 3 little babies gonna starve to death or freeze. We started making white lightning, it was Grandpa's recipe. Run, rebel, run to nowhere. Run, rebel, run to the Scott County Jail.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday night. Happy first Thursday in March. Can't believe it's already March 7th, and it's the first Thursday.
I know. It's crazy.
And so we're excited to be here, excited to have you with us. And so you are locked in for the next hour with myself and my co-host and business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. And like Miranda said, March has roared in here. Seemed like it took a minute to get here, but man, when it did, we have got so much stuff going on, a lot of big announcements. Paranormal investigations have been booking like crazy. I know we're going to have a busy weekend coming up with paranormal investigations, both at here and at Rugby. So we're very excited about that. And, the guest that we're going to have tonight is actually going to talk about his investigation here. So we're excited to be speaking with him here in just a few minutes, but a lot of special things coming up in the next month that we're really excited to share with you guys.
Yeah. And, we're kind of taking a week's break from our series that we've been doing, the last little bit. We've been having different people from different jails from all around the country, and we've been reaching out to a lot of different jails, got some great responses, got some people booked up here in the next little bit, but we're trying to kind of pepper in some of our paranormal investigators as well as some of the interesting things that we've got going on. So we'd love for you guys to go back and check out some of those past episodes, because we have covered some really great places, and maybe go and visit them, check out their actual museums and investigate their locations. Do want to say, hello to everyone here in the chat room, and happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Susan, thank you for being the first to wish me happy birthday. It is tomorrow, but thank you all very much. I do appreciate that. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Yeah. And so, so we're really excited about that, excited about tonight's guests, and really even more excited about just all the really cool things that we've got going on here with the jail and with Rugby. Just kind of want to go ahead and kind of kick things off about some of the really cool things that we're doing here. Let me get the screen shared here. We did announce just a few days ago that we're kicking off. It's our 3rd annual Blessing of the Bikes, and that's going to be on Saturday, April 13th. And so I wanted to make sure that I was really kind of clear about this, because it's kind of different. If you are a biker and you've gone to other blessings of the bikes, it's a little bit different. Normally what they do is there's a time that all the bikes are supposed to be there, and you come in, you get your blessing, but we're kind of making it's almost like a parking lot party in a way. We've got a food truck. Dean's Pit Stop is going to be here. And so we're calling it a roll through bike blessing. Yep. So you'll be able to show up anytime between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern. And the Christian Motorcyclists Association, they've got their tent set up there. You can roll your bike through. They'll do the blessing, give you, I think they give like a little
towel, a couple little tchotchkes that you can
stickers, that sort of thing.
It's a great group of people.
Absolutely.
They're a great group of people, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's the Christian Motorcyclists, Servants of Jesus, I believe, out of Campbell County or
Correct.
Jacksboro.
Yep.
We've got all that information there under the event page. I am going to go ahead and copy that, put that link over here in the chat room. So come on out. If you don't have a motorcycle, that's cool.
Fine.
Yeah. Come on out and
they'll bless your car. They'll bless they'll bless you. Basically, it's just going to be good friends and fellowship. As Miranda said, we'll have a food truck out here with breakfast and stuff. So just come on out, tour the jail. By that time, we will have the bank building open as well, so you can tour that. We'll get you these nice little stickers that we have. Yeah, Addie, bring your bike. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, hey, bring your e-bike.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine.
Yep.
And I know they've got a special division that actually blesses the side-by-sides and ATVs. And so at some point we're hoping to maybe get that rolling.
But I'm sure they won't turn you away if you roll up on that. But like I said, just come out, have some fun. Tour the jail, see the bank building that we're going to have open, and just come out and have a great time with us.
Yeah, and we're calling it come on out and get you a blessing and a biscuit, because they're gonna have breakfast food here. And if you've eaten Dean's Pit Stop before, oh my gosh, you know what we're talking about. So check that out. We'll have more information on that, but set yourself a reminder there on our event page. Come out and join us. And the cool thing is, with it being a roll through bike event, if you have a ride planned that day, which it's kind of hard to get people during the summertime, during the early spring to come out. If you've got a ride, you can ride up with your buddies, or you can set your ride to meet here and get your bike blessed and then leave on out from here. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be bigger than ever.
Yeah.
This year.
We're hoping it's going to be bigger than ever. You guys can come on out or spread the word, help us spread the word, get some people out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The next thing that we have that we shared that we're really excited about is we have once again partnered with the Tennessee State Museum out of Nashville. So they wanted locations to partner with them in each of the different counties or each of the different regions of Tennessee. We're very fortunate that they picked us to be their partner here for this region. And so once again, we will be partnering with them to offer a free teacher workshop. We've opened it up to 20 teachers. You can be in Scott County, Morgan County, Fentress County, Campbell County, anybody that wants to come out that's in this area. It's a free teacher workshop. They give you all of the tools that you need for the lesson plans that they build. This year's theme is Tools That Built Tennessee. They're bringing a bunch of hands-on stuff, and like I said, all the packages that you need to teach this in your classroom. You get class credit for it, or continuing education credit for it. You get a free lunch. You get to meet new different people that you may not know otherwise. So we had a great time last year. As you can see scrolling across the screen, these are some of the people that participated with us last year. This is a really fun event. It's all free, put on by the Tennessee State Museum out of Nashville. So all you have to do is you do have to pre-register, so we know how many people are coming. So go to the website, the Eventbrite. You do not have to enter a credit card. It's all free. They just need your name. Put it in there and come out and join us on June 18th, Tuesday, June 18th, and take advantage of this really cool opportunity.
Yeah. And, my parents were teachers. And one of the really cool things about this is when they would do their continuing education, a lot of the time they had to go to Nashville or they had to go further away to get these continuing education classes. But with this, being able to do it here at the jail, and they get a tour of the jail, which is something that's really cool as well. But with this, you don't have to travel really far. You can come in. And I think they had a pretty decent little lunch last year too.
Yeah, they had, they brought in Subway, and everybody got sandwiches and cookies and chips and all that fun stuff. So it was a really good time. The Tennessee State Museum, like I said, they take care of everything. They give you all the teaching tools that you need to take this back into your classroom. So again, just all they ask is that you pre-register so we know how many people are coming. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
And if you do register and for some reason can't make it, you probably would need to remove yourself off that list there, just because we do have limited space for 20 people. So we want to make sure that everyone that wants to come can come.
Yep. And then the last thing for March is I will be speaking at the Tennessee Association of Museums meeting on the 21st. This is their annual conference. I will be speaking on After Dark tourism and historic preservation through After Dark tourism. So I'm really excited about this, and I want to thank everybody who took the time to answer my survey that I sent out. Whether you're a paranormal investigator, a location owner, a museum or historic site, a ghost walk tour operator, if I sent you the survey and you filled it out, thank you so much. I have a lot of data that I'm going through and analyzing, so I'm really excited about giving this speech on the 21st in Murfreesboro.
Yeah. And just want to point out, we did have somebody reach out to us last time with a suggestion on a jail to reach out to. If you are watching and you have a jail or some type of historic location like that, some prisons, we're not quite doing prisons just yet, but if you do have a jail in your area that you've investigated before or you would like for us to highlight on our weekly series, please reach out to us and with a contact information, and we would love to get them on our show.
Yep.
So,
all right. So we've yapped enough. So now it's time for our guest to do some yapping. We're really excited about this gentleman that we're having tonight. Miranda, you know him a little bit better than I do, so you want to go ahead and introduce?
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of meeting these guys that investigated the jail several years earlier, about the time I started doing Ghost Biker explorations. Had them on my podcast, Ghost Biker Garage, and really just fell in love with the way that they do their investigating, because they're so unique and just really cool with what they do. But I got to meet them in person around last Christmas when they came and filmed here at the jail. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest, Mr. Vinnie Vineyard. He's with Big and Funky Productions, and he's going to be talking about the Wrestling with Ghosts investigation that they did here at the jail. Hey, Vinnie.
Yeah, I wasn't making out with a stranger. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for taking time for break from that to talk to us for a few minutes.
All right, hold on. Are we going?
We're going.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
Doing
Fantastic.
good, doing good. So just in case, I know a lot of people have watched some of your shows, but just in case they haven't, tell us a little bit about Big and Funky, and then also about Wrestling with Ghosts.
Well, Big and Funky is, if anybody's ever seen me before on your show, I mean, you're wondering where the giant is. He's working tonight. He's a musician. So we're entertainers. Me and him were a tag team in pro wrestling. He was the big one because he's 7 feet tall, and I was the funky one because for a long time I didn't have an operating shower in my apartment. But so anyway, we make movies, we make horror comedies, full-length feature films. He's a musician. I was a musician, but he's an active musician. We're pro wrestlers, and we also do a TV show. We do comedy skits and some other stuff too, but we do a TV show for very small, weird channels throughout the East Coast. We do a paranormal show called Wrestling with Ghosts. Mm-hmm. And Wrestling with Ghosts started off. The original idea was there was this paranormal dweeb who ended up being a really bad person, but he was one of these paranormal guys. And the idea for the show was that he was going to hire 3 professional wrestlers to protect him from all the evil investigations he went on. And at the time, we just got fired from Fox for making a wrestling television show that was god awful. So we needed a gig. And so we were like, whatever, we'll do it. He ended up being a scumbag and a really bad person, and in some of the worst ways imaginable. Wow. But we kept going, and the first investigation we ever did, we caught a lot of evidence, and we have a je ne sais quoi of the way that we do things. That's much different. And like I was saying when you were bringing me on earlier, I do enjoy the paranormal. I do enjoy the mystery and the fun of it. I like urban exploring, so you get to see dilapidated buildings and stuff. But there's a spirit. To me, it's like creating a scientific record, even though we use a lot of humor. This is what happens in this place. And the way that we present ourselves is much different. We're not afraid of spirits. We're not it. Dude, I'm telling you what, I could go into the most haunted place in the world, not bat an eye, and I'm not Billy Badass. It doesn't bother me. You ask me to climb the roof to change, to clean out the gutter, I'm going to pee my pants. But the paranormal stuff does not bother me. And so with that, we don't go in there mocking, but we use a lot of humor. Our mantras: flirt with the women, joke with the dudes, and tease the kids. And that's kind of what we do. And because of that, we get a lot of crazy evidence that I think is unique. And if people watch our episodes, I think people will be really surprised at what we can garner without using technology, really, besides flashlights and cell phones and cameras.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you find that technique has worked really well for you guys?
Oh man, I mean, we get so much. I mean, what we're doing now is we're releasing an episode a month on the YouTube channel for free. You don't have to have one of these cockamamie weird stations like Saltbox. You ever heard of Saltbox or Intrigue or
No.
SI TV? I mean, these things are, I'm not putting them down. They're great for paying us and letting us be on there, but nobody watches this stuff. I don't even know how they make money. But anyway, so I mean, this is, the internet is free. We're releasing them for free. And we've got your episode up now on Big and Funky Productions. And we got, when we investigated a ghost light, which probably the Causey light in South Carolina, dude, one of the craziest. I mean, to capture a ghost light, just half-ass looking for it, is one of the craziest.
That is awesome.
Things. I mean, it's because here's the thing. I don't care what people believe. You may believe paranormal investigation you may believe the paranormal is just bull crap. There's no such thing as spirits or ghosts or whatever. So if you go out with your friends at 2 a.m. in the dark and you're looking at a ghost light, it's terrifying for one of two reasons. One, there is a ghost/paranormal burning orb that everybody can see that's stationary, floating several feet off the ground, looking at you. Or there's a crazy ass dude in the middle of a field at 2 a.m. with a light shining right at you and your friends, and he doesn't move for 5 minutes. I mean, either way, that's entertainment, and that's crazy as heck. Because I've had people go, "Oh, that was just some guy out there." What? Where we were? That's the creepiest thing in the world. There was some guy out there with a light.
More creepy than paranormal.
Do they just hang out for people to show up?
They're waiting for Vinnie.
There they are. I see him. All right, this will be hilarious. I mean, that's crazier than a ghost to me. So
right.
Anyway, so we got those up in the next. We're about to have another episode this month, but this month's episode was you guys. So
yeah, so let's kind of talk a little bit about that. Your episode. We were gonna highlight a few little clips from that. We don't want to give it all away, so we're only gonna show just a few limited things, but kind of talk a little bit about that.
Your place is nice. If people watch this and they've never been, it's a small jail. It's not it's tough. A prison is a big sprawling expanse, and it's like a mystery, and it's kind of like an adventure. A jail, and especially the way you guys set it up, it's like a little museum. So it's kind of compact, and you have to. The cool thing about your jail, a jail investigation could be terrible, to be honest with you. It could be 5 rooms, and you're standing around going, "Well, there's nothing going on." When we were there, that was not the case with us at your place. And it wasn't the most activity we've ever gotten somewhere, but it was I would rate it, we've done several dozen investigations, and I would rate it in the top third as far as very interesting responses, intelligent responses. Like sometimes you go somewhere and you hear stuff, you're like, I don't know if that was residual or if that was something that was just, if we're imagining it. But this stuff that we captured in your jail, when we listened to all the evidence, I mean, you can't deny that there's, unless we're faking the evidence, which we don't. There's some really interesting stuff that happened.
Mm-hmm. And what I found was interesting is, and we tell people that somebody has to take a historical tour when they come, right? Mm-hmm. So your group decided half were going to take it, half weren't, or a few were going to take it. But when you watch your episode, those that weren't on the tour were picking up some interesting things. So it's almost like a very organic episode, because I know on the second floor, you were picking up a very distinct name. And then when you got to the third floor, you saw the newspaper article related to that name. So that was very interesting to me, that it was the people not on the tour that were picking up on some very interesting names that are really germane to this location.
And Luke was the one that picked it up, and I think it was Harvey.
It was.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, Harvey is not, if somebody says, name a name, I mean, mm-hmm. Harvey is not going to be a name anybody just shoots out like John or Mike or whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Harvey's an interesting, you don't hear that every day. And Travis was with me, who was with mm-hmm. Miranda and Justin and Julie. And sorry, I'm in Sarajevo right now. We're about to launch some missiles. I'm doing two things at once. I'm waiting for getting the green light from the Hebrews if we're going to start shooting there. But anyway, but yeah. So I mean, so Travis was the cameraman, and he shut up until they ran into, I think, Mikey, who's Luke's son, who's also 7 feet tall. He said, "Hey, there's a guy." I didn't even know Mikey could read. That was the most impressive thing about the segment there. But saw that Harvey was in a newspaper article, and so that's kind of cool, And you don't have a million. You don't have every name represented in history in your jail. So yeah, that was interesting.
No, and kind of what I think is fascinating about that is, of those two, Jerome Boyett and Harvey Winchester, I kind of think Harvey sort of is the, I don't want to say sidekick, but I mean, he's kind of, kind of takes the back seat to Jerome Boyett, because even though the incident that happened there involved both of those two, most people hit on Jerome because he's one of the more well-known, and Harvey, we really believe he was just kind of taken out of there because he was his cellmate. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting that that's the one that they hit on, because he tends to kind of take a back seat to Jerome when people talk about them.
I think Jerome was in bed at that point. We were there pretty late. I think
probably.
Harvey was up watching TV or something.
Another thing that I really was fascinated by, now we get it all the time, but it's the actual audible clips that y'all were able to capture. Like I said, it's stuff that we hear. Other teams have captured very audible stuff as well, but multiple people were hearing all of these in the moment, which to me, again, is fascinating and just highlights what we get here at the jail.
And two, I'm going to pull up a clip right quick. One of the things that I thought was really cool to kind of hit on what Chris was saying, while we were doing the tour upstairs, the group that was downstairs, Luke and Candy and all of them, they were actually having experiences while we were upstairs, and they were unique, but they were also interesting because we've been able to go back. I mean, it's been things that have been related to what we've experienced that we didn't tell anyone about. So I'm actually just going to pull this up. I'm going to play it right quick, kind of without sound. But and of course, then we'll play some with sound, but let me pull that up right there and just kind of have it running. We were upstairs giving the tour at this point. And so, of course, this is our handcuff wall that everyone signs whenever they investigate with us. And y'all were getting, the handcuffs were just swinging on their own. And so there was a pendulum that was here in this, in the booking room, and it was swinging as well. Mm-hmm. And they were getting hot spots. That was really fascinating to me.
It was.
Well, and there's look at that coat there. How many? There's an El Camino somewhere with missing its seat covers. But anyway, that right there that you're playing, that hello thing there, that's the one to me, man.
Yes, that's what I was going to play, and actually play it with the sound here. Right, so that kind of leads up to what was happening to me.
But It's got me back. Oh my God. There's no way. I'm just gonna burst. It's not stopping either. To me, that's weird. Mm-hmm. There's something here for sure. Yeah.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the energy? Do you feel the energy? Do you feel the energy?
Yeah, so that is a great capture. To us and to y'all as well, it sounded like a little kid saying hello, and we get that a lot here.
Yeah, we actually get kids here on this first floor because this would have been the floor, which I know the folks watching the show, that were experiencing this, they didn't know that this was actually the jailer's quarters where kids actually grew up here in the jail.
Ooh. Yeah, we didn't know that either. See, now, when we captured that, they were like, is that Julie? That's my wife. My wife is from Georgia, and she's got this little girl kind of voice. And I let Julie hear that, and she goes, yeah, that's my voice. And I was like, are you sure? Because would you say hello like that? Were you? And then we checked the other tape, and she was right next to me, mum's the word, when they were... This was happening right next to Amber and Candy. And Candy also said when this happened, they barely heard it, but on the recorder, it was so loud, like it was a friend just being goofy and the just going, hello. But, so yeah, that could have been ruled out. Another thing that you brought up too is Amber was just, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hot, I feel cold, I feel hot. Well, that's terrible for TV. Nobody knows what you really feel like. You may have a disease. Nobody knows. So I cut all that out. But so Amber and Candy together were killing me because they were like, I'm hot, I'm cold. You feel that? I'm hot, I'm cold now. There's cold. I'm cold. You're cold. I'm cold. Are you cold? She's cold. I can't breathe. Can you breathe? I can't breathe. Well, it's terrible for TV because you're like, what the? These women could be crazy. They could be putting on. But they were feeling stuff the whole time. And then like Candy would be like, I see a guy's looking at me. He came out. He came out. Did you feel that? Were you cold when he came out? I was cold. He was hot. She was cold. You were hot. It was a McDLT. I was cold on this side. You were hot on this side. And so I cut all that out, but they were the entire time, they would not shut up. And that's the other thing too. It's like, shut up. Because the entire time you're doing this, we gotta sit there and hear if we can hear anything. Because that's what we capture more than anything are these audible gimmicks. And I wonder how much tough when we're going, I'm cold, you're cold, I'm cold, you're cold, you're cold. And it's like something's going, help me. You can't hear it.
Yeah, they're like, blow on them, make them cold again.
Yeah. So, I mean, and just back to that other clip real quick, as we said, the handcuffs were swinging. We've got, 100 pair of handcuffs on there. So they were swinging. And at the same time, the pendulum this was actually a gift to us from another paranormal team that came in, Kelly Schaefer. She had made this pendulum for us, and we just keep it here in the jail. And it takes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even sometimes Sally will knock into it and it doesn't start swinging as much as it did on that video clip. So the fact that both of those things are swinging at the same time, and then the voice was captured in that same area, it's just very compelling.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of those things we just kind of keep it sitting around and just to see if anything acts upon it rather than actively investigating with it. And when I came back down after the tour, Candy actually brought me in here and she was like, does that happen a lot? And I'm like, no, to my knowledge, it's never happened. And so she's like, let me show you this. And so she was talking just about all the crazy stuff that was happening with it. So I think getting all of that in succession, I mean, and personally, I mean, our spirits really react to the teams that come in here, especially when they're not being serious with them, when they're letting them, kind of voice their stories and then also kind of cutting up with them. So I think they really had a connection with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's about entertainment, And so when I'm the main editor of this show. And so I didn't focus a lot on the handcuffs because I don't, somebody walking up the steps could make those handcuffs shake.
Yes.
So to me, it's not, and we were moving around. So I have no idea. Now I thought the pendulum, see, that's interesting. I thought the pendulum thing was Candy's own personal. I didn't know it was a residential pendulum. So yeah, if it's sitting there and it's secure and you don't set it down, because I had no idea if you set it down, it was still moving. But if it was just rocking and rolling there right after that, that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm finding the other where the ladies. So a couple things also happened with the ladies in Big Roy's cell, and it looked like you guys actually kind of experienced quite a lot of your stuff in that cell block with Big Roy.
Most of the show ended up being there.
Yeah.
Again, there's a really good piece of evidence. I don't know what you want to show, if you want to show it first, but the jail
Which one
cell,
are you?
the jail cell door.
Yes.
That's where I was going right there.
And this is very interesting that y'all caught this, because this door and the doors in this cell block will routinely open and shut. We've had several teams capture this. And the way, and obviously we're going to show it here in a minute, Miranda's going to cue it up. The way it shuts to me is absolutely fascinating, because it's such a smooth shut, and it's fast enough where you think it's going to hit the steel and make that sound, but it stops itself, which again, to me, is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it doesn't
slam.
It doesn't
shut.
slam, which is crazy.
Well, I think the thing that's most interesting about this clip is this. So if I was a skeptic watching this, I would be like the cameraman who was Travis, moved it with his foot to do it on purpose, to make it look like evidence or whatever. If you're a man, you don't make the noise that Travis makes when you're trying to scare girls and fake evidence, because he sounded like the biggest ninny in the world. Because what you would do if you're shutting the door, you'd be like, "Oh, look at that! He made this." Ooh. And if
He did.
And if you bumped it, the camera, these cameras, we don't have big ass rigs when we do stuff like this. The camera would have shook, and there was no shaking. It completely shut.
Right. Well, and again, he would have to have started it in motion and then stopped it before it closed all the way.
Yeah.
So the fact that this thing is, and everybody will see it in a minute, the fact that it shuts as fast as it does, but it stops itself, that to me is the most compelling piece. All right.
And also when it starts to move, you hear this high pitched ping. I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear it with headphones on.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up the whole screen here so people can see it well. And I'm actually going to pull it back just a little bit. There we go.
Is there anybody on the second floor?
Turn around, how do you feel? Like this.
Okay, we just heard something. So guys, can you just camera?
What?
No, you have to girl. Because we heard the call, and then we heard the man talking. And they thought it was in the stairway. And I heard
Oh! What is it?
in the stairway. And I heard
Oh! What is it?
in the stairway. And I heard
Oh! What is it?
I didn't do that.
I feel you. So are you wanting me in here with you? Okay.
That was pretty wild. Travis swears he didn't shut the door himself.
I like
even
where Vinnie
tested
tests it.
later in the evening, and it takes a lot of energy to shut that door. If you're holding a camera and you shut the door like that, it would shake and there would be an audible noise. I think Travis is telling the truth, and Big Roy wanted to do something nasty to the girls.
Yeah, and I'm glad you went back and tested that. So thank you for doing that. But the entire thing, so he is stepping back from the door. So he's too far away to stop it. And so it should have swung all the way and hit the other bars. But the fact that it stops, again, that to me is the most compelling, because it's in such a fast forward motion to swing shut.
Another thing too is, Travis, if you're faking, if you're like, I'm going to shut this door, you're going to face the camera at the door.
Yeah.
And the camera was not quite, it was on screen, but it wasn't the focus he was trying to get a shot of the two girls in there who were touching each other's butts. By the way, they were trying to replicate what they felt, which might have been the thing. And you can hear, if you're watching that at home, you're like, what is happening? Luke broke a cardinal rule. You're supposed to always be rolling. He didn't have a camera, and something crazy. Still don't even know what was happening, but you could hear him going, blah, 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 blah. Something was happening to him down away. So there was like, we're going back to what we just said. There's a wave of things happening at once. The girls Amber got her butt touched. Candy, it was about to leave and shut the door on Amber. And Amber's like, please don't, what are you doing? And Candy's like, I'm freaked out because she felt weird. She's one of those empath people. And then Luke's blathering about something, and then the door shut. So there was a lot of stuff happening in that moment.
Yeah, very compelling.
And there was right before that. So what I think is cool is because Candy had been outside of that cell, and it's funny because one of the things that I always tell our people when we're given a tour is that Big Roy tends to stay in his cell. He's not really one that goes anywhere, but he loves it when you open the cell, and that usually gets responses, and then it gets responses whenever you go in. So to me, it's kind of interesting that Candy was outside of the cell. And what was the other lady that was in the cell? I forget her name. Amber. Yes. And so then Amber gets touched, which kind of draws Candy in. And she'd been talking about the whole time that she was feeling kind of claustrophobic and didn't want to go in there. So I think that's interesting that once she gets in there, boom, the cell door closes.
Yeah. And you can see how Candy does this stuff all the time. And she was like, she's like freaking out because she's spooked, and you rarely see Candy spooked quite like that. It happens some, but not often.
Yeah. And again, like you said, there was a lot of stuff that happened in that cell, and it is a cell that Miranda said, the entity in there loves women. And I know that we're going to cue one up here, the spirit box that she has.
I thought this is actually kind of such a neat response. So so after, and so we always tell people that, in case you do play this on the tour, or I mean on the video, but basically he loves women and interacting with women. And when I say loves, he likes interacting with women, I guess, but he also likes kind of challenging with the men. So let me start this up. We'll play that with the audio. And I think that was pretty wild.
Travis swears he didn't shut the door himself. I even tested this later in the evening, and it takes a lot of energy to shut that door. If you're holding a camera and you shut the door like that, it would shake and there would be an audible noise. I think Travis is telling the truth, and Big Roy wanted to do something nasty to the girls. However, when the girls kept trying to talk to old Big Roy with Candy's spirit box, he turned out to be a big fat joke.
Did you like blue-eyed women?
No wonder you're in prison, you bastard. These are beautiful women. After the break, Big Luke.
I love it.
So for those of you watching, obviously she had the spirit box up. People tend to go one way or the other on the spirit box. Personally, I enjoy using them. But that was a pretty interesting response to two ladies being in his cell.
Yeah, it seemed intelligent. Mean, but intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Amber and Candy are cutie pies. What is he talking about? So, yeah, I mean, that's good stuff. I mean, that came out pretty clear. Candy uses that spirit box all the time, drives me nuts, but we get good stuff sometimes with it. That's about the only thing that we allow in our investigations that's technical. And it's because Candy loves it so much. So we're like, we don't want to sit there and go, no. But she's kept. That was a good one.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I'm not going to give away all your stuff because we definitely want people to go and watch the show. But you used some, speaking of technical equipment, you used some pretty interesting equipment when you were here.
Well, yeah, Luke is a nut. And so he's an absolute goofball. So he brought his remote control fart machine, and just because he's a lunatic, and that worked. and that got some unique responses.
It
I'll tell you, man, there was one that's not going to be sexy in a way. Of course, fart machines aren't sexy either, but there was two that I thought was great. When we were doing the art contest in the girls' dorm, and I liked the drawing. They were all terrible. We don't want to tell the ghosts that because it'll hurt your feelings. But maybe they were arrested because they were so bad at art. But the art that was in the girls' dorms were bad. But there was one of a dog, and when I said I like this one the best, who is this one, or who drew this one? And you hear that really faint, disembodied Becky.
Yeah,
you heard of Becky, and I mean it was clear. We even heard it, and it's so to me, when you hear it live, a disembodied voice it's like chess. A disembodied voice is like a rook. And a EVP is like a knight. You know, the rook is more powerful than the knight. I think it's better evidence if everybody goes, I think we just heard Becky. And but the most interesting thing, and I would like for you guys or somebody to do this. We were in the cell next to Big Roy's, I think, and Travis was in there. And Travis immediately, and I even messaged you, Miranda, about this because I thought it was interesting. Travis starts going, hey, I'm starting to feel sick and like I'm about to pass out. Right then, there was this high-pitched noise coming through the camera. And it was like, ee! It was one of them deals. And I was like, and I felt weird too. And I was like, I wonder if they've ever done one of those EMF gimmicks up there to see if there was a lot of EMF activity or what that was. But as soon as it happened, it went away, and Travis was fine after that. But that was very interesting.
Well, I know there's just looking at the comments here, EMF does tend to hit pretty hard up there. We had it with Paranormal Quest, had some stuff happening. The team that we had last week had some things happen. And then Jennifer says on here, Big Roy's cell, that's where both of their EMFs redlined at the same time.
Okay.
And she said they were in tandem, but on different bunks. And, you know, I mean, that seems to happen. Now, we have been experimenting a lot in that area with frequency generators to see if that affects the spirits. And that's kind of interesting because it's almost like the spirits were kind of messing with the frequencies to mess with you guys.
Doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never, been doing this since 2016. I've never heard anything. I've never heard of radio frequency cut through equipment at the same time as a friend of mine saying something like, "Well, I feel awful. I heard," it's just like, it was the craziest thing. And I was like, that's really unique.
Yeah.
And that was another one. And then probably not to give everything that we captured, and we haven't, because there's all sorts of stuff that happened on this episode, but the oppressive breathing in that top cell, to me, as sexy as, the hello and the door slamming and the fart machine response and all that stuff, to me, the breathing was the craziest thing. And I was even yelling at the people. I was like, shut up, quit breathing. Everybody's like, I'm not breathing. And there was this sound like a dude was sitting there, like in prison. You stand behind somebody and you make your presence known. And it went on for dozens and dozens of seconds. I wouldn't say it was a full minute, but it was a lot of disembodied breathing that we all heard.
And that's very common on that third floor. People hear it on the other floors, but it's very common on that third floor. And what a lot of people will hear, and we've heard it ourselves, is just like just an exasperated, and it's interesting because we've got Rochelle and Jennifer in here, which they're getting ready to come and investigate. And they actually caught, and it was in the women's cell, they caught a loud, it was a sigh, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that they
like
caught?
like a sigh.
Yeah.
It was very audible as well. And they heard it. Obviously they captured it, but they heard it audibly in the moment.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. If you watch the episode again, or anybody ever want to watch the episode, when it's me and I think Travis and Luke in the women's cell, and we took our shirts off and nothing happened because we're not as cute as we used to be. But before all that stuff, there was a lot of hemming, hawing, growling, sighing, and I think we got some of that in the episode too. So, but there was a lot of that exasperation.
Yeah.
I've disappointed a lot of women in real life. In the paranormal universe, it's a new thing. So.
Yeah, when people ask what disembodied sounds we get, which, keys are a big thing, whistling is a big thing, but the breathing, that's something that is extremely common, especially on that third floor.
And that's, if you want to come have a creepy time at the historic Scott County Jail, I mean, that's a creepy one. I mean, it's creepier than whistling and keys. I mean, there's somebody behind you breathing. So, and doing it on purpose. That's not just breathing. That's somebody going, trying to freak you out or something. I don't know. Dude's got mental problems.
Well, I'm definitely sharing. I'm going to share the link to the episode right here in the comment section, but we'll do a post probably tomorrow, actually sharing the episode itself on there. That way, if folks want to go and watch the entire thing that was captured and see your all's techniques and learn more about your other shows, well, they'll be able to do it here. We'll share it on there.
Thank you. That's awesome.
And so what do y'all got coming up next?
Well, we've got to decide. We're thinking, since we've made movies and stuff for the last, we've put Wrestling with Ghosts on the back burner, and we're kind of picking it back up because we miss each other. Making a movie takes a lot of time, and you shoot something in a couple of weeks or a month or so, and then it's like editing for a year, so we don't really get to see each other. So we want to get back together and start hanging out more. And but one of the things we're going to do is we're going to do an investigation of. We've made kind of 4 movies, but we've made 3 horror comedy movies, and we've had paranormal activity on each of them as we're shooting a movie. In fact, the last movie we made is called Camp Smokey, and it's streaming right now on something called Reveal and also Fossum, which, again, I've never heard of those channels, which is great that they picked up. But that one's about to be on Tubi any day now.
Great.
Oh, great.
So it's called Camp Smokey, and if you watch the last scene, which is after the credits, because everybody does that now because of the MCU, but we fall victim to that too. But if you watch the part of the credits, there's an additional scene that adds a little bit more to the story, and 2 women are escaping or leaving this room where all this bad stuff happened. And I left it in the movie, but you hear an audible voice, a little girl going, "Help," as the girls are walking out. And I was like, well, that's scary. If anybody hears that, they're going to think that we added that. But it sounds almost robotic, and there's kind of like a robotic sound to it in a way, but you can tell it's a girl's voice, and it is a creepy part. It's still a creepy part of the movie. And so we're thinking about going back and doing investigations for all 3 movies that we've done.
Oh, cool.
The movie WJHCAM, which was about a radio station, we actually shot it in a television station in La Follette, Tennessee, and a guy killed himself in there, and there's all sorts of crazy there was a downstairs apartment, guy killed himself who was a DJ who lived there.
Wow.
And there's paranormal stuff happens there. And then the first movie we did was because of Wrestling with Ghosts. We were investigating the spirit of Spearfinger on we were like, let's just do this. We know this isn't going to amount to anything. Lo and behold, this episode was insane. And we think we found something that was purporting itself to be Spearfinger, which is a Cherokee legend. She's a rock golem with a long obsidian finger that is a cannibal.
Jeez.
And a shapeshifter in their religion. And so we're going to go back to the Nolan Creek Trail and probably the caves that were in. If you ever watched the movie, there's some scenes in a cave that we did an investigation of. So we'll probably go back to that. So we're probably doing a movie paranormal sweep of the 3 movies we've done to go back and investigate some of our locales. And then we'll probably be going back down to South Carolina and North Carolina because Candy's got a bunch of cool stuff down there. And we're open for any unique place. We normally don't go to famous places because people are all the time like, have you gone to Waverly? It's like, why go to Waverly or why go to the penitentiary? I bet the most famous place we probably went to is Hell's Bar Dam. We went to there's a place called in Hamilton, Ohio, Post-Town Elementary, which is kind of well known.
Great
Oh,
place.
you've been there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. No offense to them. This place is the historic Scott County Jail is much more authentic. The thing about now Post-Town, we had a great episode. Don't get me wrong. That was a great episode. A lot of stuff happened. I don't like how they've made it like an amusement park in a way. It's too kitsch. They've got a room full of dolls. That doesn't make sense. This was a school. They added certain things in the hallway that I'm not like, don't make a scary place scary by adding kitsch bullshit, man. Just let it be itself. Don't try to scare people because what are you doing at that point? This place has enough activity. You go to an abandoned school at 12 at night. It doesn't matter. It's creepy. If you have a flashlight, it looks creepy. You don't need I'm sorry, pardon my language. You don't need crap laying around to try to scare people. Other than that, great place.
It's a great place, yeah.
We had a great episode. Didn't like the kitsch, didn't need it, but and you guys don't have that, which I appreciate. It's all authentic. It's cleaned up and stuff. But it's kind of the same situation that it was. You don't need you don't have a cell full of dolls with no eyeballs. Look, none of these baby dolls have eyeballs. Isn't that weird? You don't need that.
And that's what makes it haunted.
Exactly.
It takes away.
It does.
It does.
It's definitely a detraction.
It does.
We're pro wrestlers, and in wrestling we have a thing called you just put a hat on a hat. So if me and Luke are fighting each other in a cage match. And then we add, let's say, laser bats or some sort of electronic bat. You put a hat on a hat. We're in a cage. We don't need an electrified bat. The cage is interesting enough. At that point, it's too many gimmicks. So it's the same thing with that place. But anyway, that's why I would recommend you guys over that one, even though that was a good one too. I don't want to poo-poo on anybody up there, but. So anyway, we like going to places nobody's ever heard of. And that's why if we ever get world famous, which we won't, but if we did, La Follette, Tennessee would be the most haunted place on the earth. And people would be going there left and right. And because every time we've gone up there, good God Almighty. And I've learned, by being on different podcasts and stuff, I've been on a couple where there's like these scientists and stuff that are like the paranormal scientists, like, where did you get your degree? But anyway, they're always like, well, La Follette, Tennessee is on 3 ley lines, and I'm like, oh, the ley lines. Yes, the ley lines. It's very good to have the ley. And I'm like, what the hell is a ley line? I found out has nothing. It's not a 1-900 number. You don't call some lady from Bangladesh. That's not the kind of ley line he's talking about. It's something completely different with energy. But La Follette's jacked up.
Yeah.
So, how close are you guys to La Follette?
About 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in the spooky, the paranormal corridor of East Tennessee.
It is. Yeah. We could probably create a triangle there with that. Us, La Follette, and
we have the residual ley line, I guess.
There you go.
We've got the shadow of the ley line.
There you go. So just kind of looking at a few of the comments and questions here. Pull up James's comment. He says, I agree with you, Vinny. I hate when a location tries to make it spooky with extra crap. That's why I have a hard time investigating locations that do haunted houses. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why we refuse to do a haunted house here, because we could make a lot of money and we could have a lot of people coming through, but it just, for me, it just attracts
very much,
and takes away. Bob Burnell asked, he said, have you ever caught laughter on an EVP?
All the time. We were investigating a bridge out in East Tennessee. Sorry, we are in East Tennessee. Out in out in Pittman Center, Tennessee. And there's a covered bridge that for some reason Luke loves. And if you've ever seen any, I think that's in that freaking covered bridge is in our old opening. It's in the movie Camp Smokey we just released. Of course, that was a beautiful shot. It looked great. But anyway, there's a story about a kid that jumped off the bridge in the 90s. And he fell in and he thought he was a moron. He jumped in, God rest his soul, jumped in head first, broke his neck. And so for some reason that episode, and we'll put this on our YouTube page eventually in the next year or so, Luke for some reason he found, I don't know if he went to a flea market, but he thought it was so cool to put this damn light on his head, like a miner's light. And he looked like the biggest damn dork I've ever seen in my life. And we're on the bridge and we're rolling. And I'm look up at him and I'm like, where did you get that light? He's like, you like it? I was like, no, you look like a butt nut. Oh, right when I said that to him, you heard this laugh. And we had an atheist, both paranormally and God. And he said, I heard that laugh. That's creepy. And so when an atheist hears something, they can't reason it. They're always like, what now? What? No, let's get the protractor out. What's happening? What's the scientific? What is this? Somebody said this. Who said something? Who laughed? And they got to figure it out and make it logical. And so we were sitting there and we were like, I wonder if this kid, for some reason, the term butt nut is a Jerky Boys prank call thing. If anybody remembers the Jerky Boys prank calls. Yes. We start going into a Jerky Boy thing and we got a couple of laughs from this kid's voice.
Wow.
So I'm like, I wonder if this kid, the Jerky Boys were big in the 90s.
90s. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I wonder if this kid died in the 90s. I wonder if this kid, fresh on his mind, he liked Jerky Boy stuff. And so we started calling each other Rubberneck and you're going to rub sand on my ass neck and all this stuff. And you got these, the atheists sitting there going, wait a minute now. What is this? I'm hearing laughter now. And so he couldn't figure it out. And we're like, whatever's here thinks this is a funny bit. So that's all there is. But yeah, we got laughter a couple times during our stretch.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Good question, Bob.
Yeah.
I was just looking to see if there was any other questions. Rochelle asked you if you're down for collabs, and she means of the paranormal kind.
Oh, well, slide in my DMs. We'll talk about other collabs later, Rochelle. But yeah, anytime. You just we definitely, anytime somebody has there's all these people that are like, well, I want to come ghost hunting. And I'm like, if you have a location, we have a permission to go into, you can come with us. So yeah, if you have a cool place, we'd like to come hang, and if not, we'll figure something out.
Very cool.
and definitely, guys, go back and watch the episode that I did with both Vinnie and Luke there on my Ghost Biker Garage. I think it was right around this time last year that we had you on, and so it was. We talked about. I think you had your movie that had just come out, and talked about some of the other investigations. So go check that out. I'm definitely going to have the guys on my show here probably in a few months. And so, yeah, check out their investigation.
Yeah. And Vinnie, thank you so much for all you've done for the jail, for the support you've given us, and, for putting out a great episode with some cool finds and stuff that, we hear all the time, but you were able to document it. So thank you for doing that.
Hey, I'm glad we had a good time. You always worry. I'm always worried that we go out and there'd be nothing happening, but it was a good time. We had a great time. It was my birthday. It turned into my birthday that night on the 20th. It was the 19th and the 20th of December, and normally my birthdays are always centered around a whiskey bottle in a dark room and a lot of tears. That was a nice change of pace, so I appreciate that.
I'm glad we could do that for you.
Nice.
Right. Take care.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinnie. Have a great night.
Thank you, Vinnie.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
A lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And when you watch their episode, they do have a different style, but we love their style. And it shows that the spirits here, they respond to jovial. They respond to different, sometimes there's a side of exasperation, just like, put your shirt back on or something like that, but it just great guys, and we can't thank them enough for what they've done. So go back and watch their episode. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and so we will put that episode out tomorrow so that you we put the links in here, but definitely go and check our page out tomorrow when we have that on there. Otherwise, I think, let's see, we've got show scheduled for next Thursday, next 7 p.m. But got to get through this weekend full of investigations. We've got 3 investigations this weekend.
And then one on Tuesday. Rochelle and Jennifer will be here. Their return visit. So it's going to be a busy week. But go check out our calendar at both Rugby After Dark, as well Historic Rugby After Dark, as well as here's the Historic Scott County Jail. We have investigation dates that are still open. People are, like I said, people are booking. For some reason this week, we have bookings left and right. So go get your investigations booked. We'd love to have you. And then remember the blessing of the bikes. Remember June 18th is the free teacher workshop. So go back and listen to the beginning of the show if you missed all of that, if you came in a little late. So go back, and all of that information is there. And also check out the Historic Scott County Jail.
And don't forget the opening of Rugby.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay, the opening of Rugby, they will start opening for their day tours on March 14th. They will have a road bowling event on Saturday, March 16th. We will be there along with a lot of other vendors. They'll have tables. They'll have a lot of food, concessions. So you can go to the Historic Rugby website, or we'll post a link on our Facebook page and our website as well, so you can check that out. But if you're in the Rugby area on March 16th, I think it starts at 11. All the information is on their Facebook page, and it'll be on ours as well.
Yeah, and so check out Historic Rugby After Dark Facebook page for any information on that that's going to be coming up. HistoricScottCoJail.com. We have all the events and stuff posted on there. And then also HistoryHighwaysHaunts.com. That's kind of the hub for it all, because once you go there, you can be directed to Historic Rugby or the Historic Scott County Jail from HistoryHighwaysAndHaunts.com. So, a lot of information in a short period of time.
Yeah, but March came in with a bang. But again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I do appreciate that. And just thank you for all the support that you give us, both here and at Rugby. We could not do this without you. So thank you so much for all that you do for us.
Yeah, and thank you for spending your time with us tonight. And we will see you next Thursday night if we don't see you before on an investigation.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.